I speak Spanish now. Not well, but enough to get in trouble. And here's what nobody tells you about learning Spanish for Colombia. The words you learn in class are not the words people use. You show up with your little textbook Spanish feeling pretty good about yourself. And then a guy at the corner store says one word to you and your whole education just stops working. So today, I want to walk you through 10 Colombian words that completely broke my brain. These aren't the hard words. The hard words are fine. You look those up. These are the easy words, the ones that seem simple and then quietly ruin your day. Hey, I'm Matt, the Americano. I'm an American living in Colombia, which means I spend a lot of time being confidently wrong in a second language. And I've learned something. In Colombia, the problem isn't the words you don't know, it's the words you think you know. Because a lot of these words have a meaning in the textbook and then a completely different meaning on the street. And nobody warns you. You just find out, usually in public. So let's count them down. 10 words. Each one of them betrayed me personally. Quick one before we move on. Our next Bogotá Nomads dinner is Wednesday, July 29th at Cocktail de Mar, the restaurant inside the Ipamar Fish Seafood Market in Old Usaquén. This is a big space, which means this is probably going to be our largest dinner yet, since we normally fill up a restaurant and basically sell out. This menu is incredible. Sushi, seafood, and if that's not your thing, they've got steak, chicken, and vegetarian too. They have a full bar, and here's the deal. RSVP is $7 to hold your seat, and you get 20,000 pesos back at the door. We're keeping it at $7 for everyone who books in the next 10 days. After that, it goes to $8 because the peso keeps winning and my math keeps losing. One thing, the RSVP is non-refundable. We commit a head count to the restaurant, and seats are limited. The links are below. Come eat, come say hello, and come make some new friends. There's no agenda. Number 10, Bacano and Chévere. Let's start easy because I'm a nice person. Both of these just mean cool or great. That's it. A meal can be Chévere. A weekend can be Bacano. A guy you met can be a good Chévere guy. And I love these words because they never turned on me. They just mean what they say, which in Colombian Spanish makes them extremely rare. Enjoy this moment. It does not last. Number 9, Rico or Sabroso. Okay. Here's where it starts. In a class, they teach you this means tasty, like the food is rico, the food is delicious. Great. Except in Colombia, everything is delicious. The weather is delicious. A nap is delicious. A chair can be delicious. Somebody will describe the vibe of a room as delicious. And at some point, a person will be described as rico. A man might describe a woman as rico, and a woman might even describe a man as que rico, which is a different situation. So now you're standing there and someone says the afternoon is delicious and you're trying to figure out if that's a weather report or a complaint. In Colombia, it's both. Everything pleasant is technically food. Number 8, Regáleme. This one made me panic in a coffee shop. The word is regalar, and you learn in class that regalar means to gift, to give something as a gift. Fine. So I'm ordering a coffee and the Colombian in front of me says, "Me regala un tinto." And I hear, "Will you gift me a coffee?" And I froze because I thought I was watching a man ask for a free coffee in public with confidence. And I'm bracing for a fight. But no, that's just how you order. Regálame un tinto is just the polite way to ask for a coffee. It's not a gift. Nobody's getting anything for free. It's basically, could you give me a coffee, but softer. Meanwhile, I'm standing there emotionally prepared for a robbery over espresso. Number 7, Parce or Parcero. This one's actually helpful. It means bro, dude, buddy. And Colombians use it with everyone. Your friend is parce. The guy fixing your sink is parce. A stranger giving you directions is briefly parce. It's the social glue of the entire country. And as an American, I love it because it removes a decision. I don't have to figure out how formal to be. Everybody's parce. The problem is you start using it too much. You get comfortable. And then you say it to somebody where it doesn't fit. And their face does a thing. And you realize not everyone is parce, but most people are. Number 6, sí okay or bien okay. Okay, this one's a greeting, but it's shaped like a threat. Literally, that's yes or what, or good or what. So the first time somebody says this to you, it sounds like an ultimatum, like they've already decided you did something. Bien okay? And you're standing there going, bien or what? What are my other options here? But it's not a threat. It's just, what's up? You good? That's the whole thing. It's friendly. It just sounds like the beginning of a problem. And here's the part that gets you. Before you move on, do me a favor and hit that like button and the subscribe too. I'm not going to beg, but if you don't, it's a little bit bien okay. Anyway, number 5, Quiubo or Qué Más. More greetings that aren't questions. Now, Qué Más literally means what else? So somebody walks up to you and says, Qué Más, and your brain goes, what else than what? We just started. And Quiubo is even better. It's a smashed together version of Quiubo, which is like what was there, which explains nothing. But both of them just mean, what's up? You answer bien, or you answer good. And everyone's happy, except you, because your brain is still trying to finish the sentence. Number 4, dale. This one is a whole personality. Literally, it means give it. That's the textbook answer, give it. But in Colombia, dale means everything. Yes, go ahead. Okay, sure, let's do it. Sounds good. And also, goodbye. It's a complete sentence. You can have an entire exchange where the other person only says dale. You, for example, say, want to grab lunch? They say dale. You say 1 o'clock and they say dale. You say cool, see you then, and then they say dale. That's a full relationship, start to finish. One word, and once you start using it, you can't stop. Somebody could tell you the building is on fire and you'd go dale. Number 3, Vaina. This is the most useful word in Colombia. Technically it means thing, but that undersells it. Vaina is the word you use when you can't remember a noun or don't want to say the noun, or there is no noun. Pásame esa vaina. Pass me that thing. What thing? Doesn't matter. The vaina. You point. They know. But it's not just objects. A situation is vaina. A problem is vaina. Que vaina. What a thing? Which just means ugh, life is hard. A general complaint about the universe. So vaina can be an object, a problem, or an emotional state. It's the Swiss Army knife of nouns. And once you learn it, you kind of stop learning other nouns. Why would you? You already know the word for everything. Number 2, listo. This one has caused me real logistical damage. It means ready. That's the textbook meaning, ready. But in real life, listo means okay, done, agreed, got it, let's go, sounds good. And critically, this conversation is now over. So here's my problem. A contractor comes to fix something in my apartment. He works for a while. Then he stands up and says, listo. And I have no idea what just happened. Does listo mean the work is finished, or does it mean he heard me and is acknowledging that a problem exists? Because those are very different outcomes. One of them means my sink works. The other means my sink is a vaina that we've simply agreed to think about. And I can't tell which. He says listo, I say listo. And then we both just move on. And I find out later whether my apartment is fixed. It's a surprise every time. Number 1, Chimba. Okay, number 1, and I want to be careful because this is the one that will get you in trouble. Now here's the setup. Que chimba means how awesome. That's a good thing, positive. But chimbo means something is bad or fake or broken. And la chimba means no way, absolutely not. Same root, wildly different meanings. And I haven't even told you the main thing, which is that the word is vulgar. It's a spicy word. So you've got a word that can mean amazing or garbage or no chance, depending on one letter and the situation. And if you, the foreigner, try to use it to sound cool, you will pick the wrong version every time. You'll be in a nice dinner feeling confident, and you'll reach for awesome and land somewhere you did not intend to be. So my advice on this one, know that it exists, understand it when you hear it, and then personally, do not touch it. It's like a beautiful razor sharp knife. You can admire it. You do not need to juggle it. Now I've got a bonus one for you. The one that'll actually get you in trouble. So I'll write the bonus story because I want you to take this seriously. So I wrote a song called Now You're Gone 2 years ago. I've got a producer, Colombian guy, one of the most respectful people I know, and he's telling me about a trip to Florida. He meets a girl at an event. She's Mexican. They hit it off, and they stop by her place for a minute before heading to dinner. Now, it's winter in Florida. He's Colombian. He is cold. So he asks her completely innocently for a chaqueta, because in Colombia, chaqueta means jacket, and she just freezes. Because in Mexico, a jacket is a chamara, and chaqueta means something else entirely. And if you knew this guy, you'd know 100% he just wanted not to be cold. But for about 4 seconds, she did not know that. So that's the real lesson. Not all Spanish is the same. Same word, same language, different country, completely different afternoon. I'm not going to tell you what it means. Look it up, but maybe not at work. So that's the 10 words plus a bonus word. And here's the thing I actually learned. You can study Spanish for years. You can get the grammar right. You can get the tenses right. And then a country takes 10 simple words and just reassigns them. That's not a flaw in your Spanish. That's the fun part, because the day you understand what listo actually means, that's the day you stop being a tourist. You're still confused, but now you're confused like a local. If you're thinking about Colombia or you're already here and you're collecting these little words that don't work the way the book said, I've got more of this. The Passport, my newsletter and digital magazine on living abroad, Bogotá Nomads, where we meet in person for dinners here in the city, all the links are below. And if this made you feel slightly better about being confused in another language, give it a like, subscribe if you haven't, and I'll catch you in the next one. Dolly.